What's up, guitar players? Today, I'm going to be showing you how you can play more like B.B. King. And rather than just memorize a few licks and phrases, we're actually going to be going over how you can take his flavors, have an understanding of those flavors, and inject them into your playing in a more fluid manner so that they can become part of your creative expression when you want them to be a part of your creative expression. So if you like this approach, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. I definitely want to put out more videos like this, so also feel free to leave a comment if there's a player that you want to sound like and emulate, and you want to see a video with a similar approach. All right, so just if you do like it, make sure you go through those steps because it's helpful for me. But with that, what we are going to do is we are going to start with the base of licks and phrases, but we're going to go over them in such a way that you are going to be able to create bigger, longer lines and guitar solos using these concepts. So make sure you stay till the end so that you can kind of bake everything in to your system and have a great understanding. But with that, let's jump into things and let's start with lick number 1. So there it is, lick 1, maybe more of a phrase. And I should say that this is all going to be in the key of A. So an A blues, an A dominant blues is what this is going to sound really good over. Just want to clarify that. But let's go over that a few more times. And like I said, we're going to get into more licks, more phrases, and then we're going to, blend them and figure out how to expand. So that's the first step, is getting these under your fingers, making sure they sound clean. That second one, I think I could have cleaned that up a little bit more. So that bend is really the most important part of this lick. And, make sure that that sounds clean. For those of you who, are a little bit newer or, might feel like your bends are weak sometimes, make sure you're supporting that with your middle finger, right? And your index if you feel comfortable doing that. I've got index and middle supporting that ring finger on that bend. So that's going to make that sound stronger and cleaner. But there is lick 1, all right? Lick number 2 is... So there's lick 2, and it will make more sense when we bring it into a backing track and put it over some blues chords. Slow it up, learn it, get it under your fingers, and then you can move on to the next one, all right? But if you need to, take a day or take a session to kind of run through the licks, and then you can, start going into the, other places that we're going to be going into, using it over a backing track, then combining them, intertwining them, all that stuff. But, feel free to take a day to just get the licks. And I should say that all of the licks will be linked in a PDF, so you don't have to come back to this video every time you want to, mess around with these concepts, all right? So there's lick 2. Again, rewind, go through it a few times, slow the video down if you need to. But lick 3 is... So kind of segmented into 2 pieces. One more time. Again, it's all in the PDF. You can pause, you can rewind, print that out, take a look at it. I'm more of an analog person, so I like to, print things out and have them in front of me. But you can also just download it, look at it on your computer. But there is lick 3. Let's go into lick number 4. There's lick number 4. So it's this, half step bend, little hammer on pull off, little quick hammer on pull off situation. And then we've got this, nice little hammer on here, a very bluesy element right there. And we'll kind of go over that as we start incorporating more and more. We just want to get the licks under our fingers. Here it is again. those vibratos are important. So, just think about it as kind of like upward, downward motion, very, very small movements. And I'm kind of like tugging on the string with my index finger. You'll see BB King, really open his hand and really get into that. But that's important, finishing with some vibratos and stuff, as you finish these licks up. But there's lick number 4. Let's get through these, efficiently, and we'll get into the, the good stuff. All right. So lick number 5 is. So there is lick number 5. You got this big bend. That's the important piece here. So really focus on that. Same thing, use the middle and index finger to support that bend. But there's lick number 5, all right? Let's move into this next portion and figure out how to start combining them, making them fluid, and play them over a backing track so we can get into a great rhythm, and again, start learning how to incorporate into our own playing. All right, so now that you've got the licks under your fingers, you're more familiar with them, you're playing through them in a more proficient manner, what we're gonna do, or what I think the next step should be, is to get them down over a backing track, over an A dominant blues. So this is a, just a cruddy loop that I made, but I'll put a good A dominant blues backing track in the description. There's one that I'm thinking of that's, supposed to be BB King specific. It's this exact progression, but a little more filled out. But anyways, take one of these licks. Let's start with, I'm kind of looking right here. Let's start with lick 3. I kind of put in a part of lick number 4, but once you have it over a backing track, just to pause that, you have to change the rhythm a little bit depending on where you're at in the song. So I just picked it up wherever it was when I stopped talking. But you need to have that, timing to make it sound good over the backing track. So that would be the next step, is literally just pick a lick and, put it over the backing track. All right, so I took lick 1 and then I moved into the second half of lick 3. But, be repetitive. You can stay with 1. So that's lick 1. I just, started it over. Right, lingering on the bend, things like that. You can get creative and just make one lick sound pretty solid for, a few bars. All right, but that's really step 2. I don't want to hammer that or linger on that too long. Get them down in a good sense of timing, or get them down in good rhythm. All right, then what you're going to want to do once you have these, down on top of a backing track, right? Once they're in rhythm, you're going to want to start blending them and melding them. And this is where I'll kind of go over some of the reasons why it sounds BB King-esque, but there's no real right or wrong. It's just if you have a good feel for it and you know when to inject the right notes, it's going to have a little bit of that element. But of course, every blues player, there's some overlap. So the right tone is important, playing things clean, that vibrato is important. So, keep that in mind, that there's no real right or wrong way to envision this. Some people think about it as arpeggios, which is totally fine. And then some people think about it as blending major and minor tones to get that kind of BB King flavor. And certainly that's a part of each one of these licks. So let's just jump into that, and I'll kind of go over those things as we're playing. All right, so backing track's back on. So now that we have these licks down, let's kind of blend them a little bit, right? So let's go back to, lick 3. Sometimes BB King will go an octave and slide down. So that little flavor, right? The A minor pentatonic. I'll put that, tab right there. Well, we're not hitting the 8th fret. We're hitting the 7th. And this is where people can think about it as kind of a major tone. So if we think about that A minor pentatonic, right? If we start with our pinky on the 5th fret instead of index, and we move that down a few frets, right? We can go from major to minor. I know that might not have sounded perfect as I was kind of going through the, the actual pentatonic scale, but if you hit the right notes at the right time, there would be like a major tone, and there would be the minor tone. So you can think about it either way, because if you look at a D7, if you just mimic that as an arpeggio, that's the exact arpeggio, right? So you can layer them and think about it in terms of arpeggios if you're comfortable with that concept, or you can think about it as blending major and minor shapes, right? That can be the easier way to look at it, I think, more often than not, right? The simpler way. So if you're a little newer and you know the pentatonic shape, that's totally fine, right? Because up here would be kind of that buddy guy box. Right, so there would be that major tone. So anyways, if you can kind of conceptualize the blend of major and minor, that might be more helpful for you. And then you can think about these licks kind of in the back of your mind, but also know that, oh, I can kind of ditch them now that they're under my fingers, and I just know that I have to hit some minor flavors and then some major flavors, and I've got to have a clean vibrato. And sometimes those like completely picked out scales, that's a BB King-esque flavor. So just think about those things and take your time. Right, so let's go minor flavor. Right, so there's minor, here's major. And then I ended with a minor flavor. And then, lick 3 has that great little kind of scale run that you can, throw in that has a very BB King scale, feel to it. And so all of a sudden, you're blending some of those flavors. I didn't even move up. I just stayed in that minor shape and just played around with some of those, on the B and the high E, add in the 7th, the 7th fret. And then, on the G string, the 6th fret, right? So you kind of have that kind of buddy guy box, in that A major. You're just putting it basically in the same shape. So you don't really have to move around that much. But there it is, incorporating those licks, blending them, pausing, take your freaking time. I have the tabs right here. What do I want to go with? Let's go with lick 4. Don't rush, dude. I always think of that as such a BB King, flavor. Go with the root, bring it up an octave. Let's go with lick 1. There was... And when there was, lick 3 and 4. But blend them. Take a little piece from 2, take a little piece from 5, take a little piece from 4, take a little piece from 1. And then you've basically got this, nice little B.B. King elongated solo lead lines going on. And if you just get the licks under your finger, then you play them over a backing track, and you can almost segment it out into a full session, 10 minutes of just the licks, 10 minutes of getting the licks, under your finger on top of a backing track, and then 10 minutes of playtime. And man, that would be a super, super valuable practice session. More than practice, right? Really refining some serious skills that are like applicable right freaking now in non-practice environments. You're just getting to do it in an environment that's pretty low stakes and allows you to play and feel things out and hear things out and get immediate feedback. But there it is, right? That's really the deal. Take some licks that sound like BB, understand the concepts. Okay, I can think about it as D7 arpeggios or E7 arpeggios or A7 arpeggios in this key, or you can just think about it simply as the major minor blend. That's really up to you, okay? But there it is. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you found it helpful, and comment some artists that you want to mess around with and take some of their styles and flavors. And I will see you on the next one. Peace.